Hey guys, it's Troy with DIY Home and Auto. I'm back working on my daughter's 2001 Hyundai Elantra. This thing has a pretty nasty power steering issue. I'm gonna back the car up and move it over just a little bit to position it in front of the garage, and you'll hear how bad this pump is. And you can actually feel it in the steering wheel too. You try to turn the steering wheel and you feel it just kinda, it's jittery at best. Grinding going on, it's just not pumping fluid like it should. And there's a little bit of a leak. But let's move the car so that we can get to work on it. So as you just heard, that is pretty nasty. It's cold today. I've got like 5 layers of clothes on. I'm dealing with a cold myself, so let's just get after this and get it done so that we can go inside, warm up. There's the power steering pump. It's like front and center, easy to get to. They've been leaking a little bit of fluid out of this, and so they've been topping it off, and I think that the leaking around the cap is just from them spilling it as they were topping off the fluid every once in a while. So I'm hoping that there's not a major leak anywhere, but we'll discover that as we get into it. I've got the new part sitting over there. I'm going to open that and see what the bolt pattern looks like so that I know what I'm dealing with on this one. But let's do this. It's got the pulley on it, that's good. I bought this from Amazon. I went to my local parts store. They wanted $199 plus a $30 core charge for a remanufactured. I found this one on Amazon. I'll put a link down below to it. This one was I want to say it was $84. But anyway, I'll have the link down below. This one had 2 reviews on it, just 2. One said it didn't come with the pulley, but as you can see, I just opened it. But anyway, check those links. It looks like it's just 2 bolts to get this thing off, and then the 2 connections, because I can see the 1 bolt there and the 1 bolt down lower. I'll get you guys set up a little better to see what's happening. But I grabbed all the tools that I think I'm going to need for this. I've got a small socket set, my box end wrenches and open end wrenches. I've got both the SAE and the metric, but I've got the metric exposed because I'm working on a Hyundai. I'm going to need those. A socket set with a couple of extensions just in case I need those. But I'm going to do this entire project just with hand tools so that it's super simple. You don't need an air compressor and air tools and all this kind of jazz to do it. So this should be fairly straightforward. Let's do it. Oh, that's bigger than that. Also going to need an adjustable end wrench for that one. Some people call it a crescent wrench. And we're already leaking fluid. I should probably get my oil pan under there. Catch fluid, or as much of the fluid as I can. Save your washers. These all set back so they aren't in the way. Stay. Okay, this one has the adjustment on it. That guy loose. It's about a 14. It is a 14. We'll take a look at that belt when we get this off too. See if that's something that's gonna need to be replaced as well. That's pretty handy. They left a little notch out of the plastic so that that bolt could come out, and you don't have to take that cover off in order to get to it. That's pretty handy. They were thinking ahead on that one. Alright, we're going to need a socket for this part. 14 again. Make sure we're set to loosen. Try not to knock the hood down on your head like I just about did. Alright, when this one lets loose, the pump is completely free, so I want to get a grip on it. Oh, that's not loose enough yet. Or I'm not strong enough, it's one or the other. I don't know what a shop would charge for this job, but this is a super easy one. I'm going to spend more time bleeding the system to make sure all the bubbles are out than actually putting the pump on. bottom bolt. Bottom bolt is longer than the top bolt, so that's how you know which one goes where. Long bolt goes on the bottom. It started, but it's not going in any farther yet. Let's get that belt. Oh, we're gonna take a look at that belt too. You can check a belt by bending it backwards. So turn part of it inside out and bend it backwards and look at it. That one has no cracking or anything, so it looks good. I'm just gonna go ahead and put it back on. We're gonna use the same one. So this top bolt started as well, and then we'll get them tightened down. Okay, that one's getting tight. Flip that over to tighten. And spend an hour putting this thing back in. Hear my daughter playing the piano? Kinda. Now the car's coming by. Anyway, she taught herself how to play the piano. It's really cool. We paid for lessons for maybe, I don't know, 4 months. But she didn't really like learning songs that other people thought she should play. She wanted to learn what she wanted to learn. So she taught herself. You get your wrench handy so that when you get it tight, you can tighten. Whoop, that slipped off. I don't want that belt to be too tight. Oh, that's plenty, that's good. One more little tug just to make sure that thing doesn't go anywhere. And then tighten the bottom one just to be sure it's tight. Oh yeah. There we go. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take off this top cap. You want to be very careful, don't get any debris or dirt down in there. That's why it has a cap in it. And I'm going to pour fluid down inside there to kind of top off the pump and pre-prime the pump. That may or may not be necessary, but I'm just going to do that so that there's fluid inside the pump. And then I'll top off the fluid in the reservoir as well. When that's done, I'll start the car and let it cycle a little bit, double check my fluid level. And then what you do is you cycle the steering left to right, as far to the left as it'll go, as far to the right as it'll go. That bleeds any air out of the system. There shouldn't be any down in the pinion steering system down below because we only opened it up, you know, from this level up. So all the bubbles should be up here contained in the top. But you do that just to be sure you get fluid all the way through the whole thing. If the pump pumps any air initially through the system, you want to make sure that you get all of that out. So be sure and bleed your system. It's not quite as imperative as bleeding your brakes, but in order for your power steering to work correctly, you don't want bubbles in there. So there is some fluid down in there. It's bubbling up a little bit. But that thing even has an O-ring on it to help seal everything in there. This is not going to take very much fluid at all. Oh yeah, see, that didn't take hardly any fluid at all. This is pretty empty though. Need to get a flashlight so I can see how much I'm putting in there. Bubbly, bubbly. Alright, you should probably replace your copper washers, but nah, not this time. You can probably hear that piano now. She's playing a song called Peace in Christ. I love that song. It's awesome. Alright, I'm going to spray it off with brake clean just to get any fluid off. I want to be able to see if I have any leaks when I first start this. So, flashlight so I can see how full that is. Brake clean, clean it all off, and I think we're ready to test. First things first, let's put this cap back on so we don't cause ourselves any problem here. There we go. Let's clean this stuff up. Oh, I'm actually going to be able to see it. That was dirty. It's probably not very good for belts, so I'm not going to put a ton on it. Just make sure it's done. All the fluid that I spilled is gone. And give that a second to dry up. Pretty good. Let's see. Flashlight. This shop light's amazing. I'll put a link down below to this thing as well. Super bright, 2 settings, plus the tip so you can shine down inside. It is pretty awesome. Okay, we're not quite up to the minimum yet. Let's put a little more in. Let's fill it to the max. I know it's going to swallow some up. Cool. Yep, I'll probably leave that in the video. So the thing is dirty on the inside enough that it looked like it was still below the minimum, but it's obviously coming out the top. In fact, my funnel's full clear up to there. So this is gonna make a mess. So that's over full. It's fine. It's fine. It's gonna be fine. Don't worry about it. Okay, let's crank this thing over. It's gonna make a huge mess. I've got my catch pan under there catching it. It's gonna be fine. Don't worry about it. I said don't worry. Alright, so let's watch that and see what happens when I crank the motor. Some of it up, so I'm going to put some in it now just to make sure it stays topped off. This has an exhaust leak too, I can hear that. We're going to have to fix that eventually. Alright, we're pulled up to the max. Fluid looks pretty good down inside there. I'm going to cycle the steering all the way to the left and then check the fluid level again before I go all the way to the right. I don't want it to go down far enough that it's pulling in air. You definitely don't want that. You'll be starting your bleeding process all over again. Move my tools so they don't fall down in the engine. Belt, but I might have to tighten that just a little bit more. I got fluid on there, so that could be a problem. Okay, it did eat a little bit of fluid. I'm going to add a little bit more. Since it's already messy, I'm not going to use the funnel. This is where we're at. Oops. Okay, we're up close to the max line again. Cycle it all the way to right. Wheel's going to hit the tripod. I'm moving it a little bit. Seems to squill when it hits the extreme end of the steering radius. Yep, that looks pretty good. I'm going to top it off. It needs just a tiny bit more. And then I'm going to cycle it back and forth, right and left a couple different times. Just to be sure. Also want to test that squeak to make sure I know what the heck that's all about. Alright, that's right at the full line. Cycle the steering wheel. What that did to our fluid level. Stayed exactly right on full. Alright, that's good. I'm going to turn it off. I'm going to tighten that belt just a hair more so we don't have a squeak. I'm using a 14mm box end wrench and then a small pry bar. On the pry bar, I'll pry on the pump itself and the bracket. Once I loosen that, I'll pry and move it just a little bit, hopefully just a smidgen, it doesn't need much, and then tighten it back up. So here we go. So now it's loose. Oh yeah, that moved quite a bit. And then make sure that's tight enough that it's not going to slip again. Again, I said that like it slipped. It may have slipped, I hope it didn't, but anyway, that should do it. Well, now, a test drive. That's my favorite part. Fix it, drive it. Fix it, drive it. Love it. Ta-da! And that is how you replace a power steering pump on a 2001 through 2000, I think 8. I'll put it in the description of the video and probably the title of the video. Hyundai Elantra. It's the same pump in, I believe, the Tiburon. Anyway, I'll put all the information in the description. So, but this is Troy with DIY Home and Auto. Please like, share this video with anybody who you think might benefit from it, and consider subscribing. I've got a lot of really cool projects. You can look at some of my old playlists. I rebuild a couple of old Ford pickup trucks, and I work on my 99 Dodge Ram quite a bit, so if you have one of those or want to see some of the different modifications and upgrades and those type of things that I do on that, be sure and subscribe. Click the bell so you're notified, and we'll see you guys in the next video.